In this video, we're gonna go over 6 myths and 6 facts of cholesterol and heart disease. We're also gonna go over how the body utilizes cholesterol, how the body uses carrier molecules to move cholesterol from place to place within the body, and what actually puts you at risk for heart disease. Welcome back to the channel where we are dedicated to a healthier, happier you. I'm Dr. Scott. Make sure you are subscribed so you can receive future videos and I can help accelerate your health, knowledge, and well-being. Myth number 1, cholesterol is unhealthy for the body and should be avoided at all costs. This is a complete falsehood, and in actuality, cholesterol is needed for your body. It is essential for your body. Your brain is 20% cholesterol. All the cells in your body are composed in part of cholesterol. Cholesterol acts as a backbone for all the hormones within your body, including your sex hormones. So guys in particular, imagine no cholesterol, you have no testosterone, you're gonna be weak, you're gonna have no drive, you're gonna have poor mood, poor health. Women, estrogen, backbone of estrogen is cholesterol. So from cholesterol synthesis, we get hormones. We also get vitamin D production as well. So the fact is that cholesterol is very important and it just needs to be put in the proper context, and in different areas that we discussed there can be an improper balance that leads to some issues such as heart disease. Myth number 2 is that dietary cholesterol, or the cholesterol that we get from the foods that we eat, will increase our blood cholesterol levels. This is false. In actuality, 75% of people who eat high cholesterol foods experience no increase in blood cholesterol levels. The remaining 25% will see a modest increase in their cholesterol levels, but that is largely considered clinically insignificant. Myth number 3, eating saturated fat will increase levels of cholesterol in the blood. While this is true in short-term studies, in all the long-term studies, there's been shown no increase in blood cholesterol levels after eating saturated fats, except for a very small subset of people that are labeled hyper-responders. So most people, the vast majority of people who eat saturated fats, such as from animal sources or also plant sources such as coconut oil, experience no increase in blood cholesterol after intaking those particular foods. Myth number 4, high cholesterol in the blood causes cardiovascular disease. This is false, and many people may debate this, but in actuality, first of all, there is no free cholesterol in the blood. Cholesterol is carried through the blood via certain carrier molecules called lipoproteins. So these lipoproteins are actually what are the problematic issues that result in cardiovascular disease, and we'll get into that in a little bit more detail in just a minute. Myth number 5, if you have high cholesterol in your blood, then you are at risk for heart disease. This is false. Typically, we use total cholesterol and LDL markers to determine our risk for heart disease. But in actuality, that is just only looking at the lipoproteins or the carrier molecules and the cholesterol together. It's not looking at the total amount of those carrier molecules within your blood, which is a more accurate marker of heart disease. And just a moment, I'll get on the whiteboard and show you in picture format to give you a little bit better idea of what I mean by this. Myth number 6 is that if you have low total cholesterol or LDL levels, that you are at low risk for heart disease. This one is probably the most surprising, because you can actually have serum levels. Remember what this tests for is your LDL particle containing the cholesterol, but it's not looking at, there's a lot of just free carrier molecules floating around in your blood. It's only looking at the LDL molecules containing the cholesterol. And so you may show on that panel test, on your cholesterol panel test, that you have fine total cholesterol, maybe even low. Your LDL levels are low. But if you were to look at the real problem, the real measure of potential cardiovascular disease risk, it would be the overall LDL particle, carrier molecule itself that are floating around inside of your blood. Also, it's important to note that extremely low cholesterol levels actually put you at higher risk for all manner of health conditions, including dementia, and that also includes an increased risk of mortality or death, especially in the elderly. So we have to keep in mind that extremely low levels can have extremely negative health consequences and even result in premature death. Now I want to give you a better idea of what I mean by these carrier molecules and then the cholesterol, and also what those blood tests, the cholesterol blood tests, are actually measuring, what those results are showing, and then what actually is putting you at risk for heart disease. So we're gonna make this simple, and this carrier molecule that I've been talking about, your LDL, for instance, your low density lipoprotein, we're just gonna make it in the form of an L for convenience sake. And this has an affinity, it likes to bind to cholesterol and it likes to move it around the body. So here is our lipoprotein or carrier molecule. This little cloudy fluff ball is going to be our cholesterol. And like I said, the LDL molecule wants to take the cholesterol and shuttle it around to the body. It is imperative for all these different functions to incorporate into the cellular membrane structure, to provide it to certain endocrine organs for hormone production, so on and so forth. So what we have in a smaller scale here, we have all these LDL molecules with the cholesterol. This is what these tests are showing. They're showing the molecules of the carrier proteins with the cholesterol. However, what they aren't measuring, if this is your blood, if this is what's coursing through your blood, you can have these LDL molecules everywhere, but they're empty. They're not full of cholesterol. They're not transporting the cholesterol around the body. They're just hanging out, not doing anything. And those blood tests aren't measuring these. And it is these, plus these, that put you at risk for heart disease. So you can have, oh, look at this. We have such a low number of LDL cholesterol, LDL plus cholesterol that we get on our test. Man, you're not at a risk for heart disease. But in actuality, this is going on in their blood. And they have tons of carrier molecules by themselves, way more than a normal healthy individual, and they are at a higher risk of heart disease. So those tests can actually be deceiving. Many times you can demonstrate to be in healthy, normal range, but also be at risk for heart disease because there is that higher amount of LDL particle. Very quickly, I thought I'd go over some of the primary factors that increase LDL particle production within the blood. First of all, you have metabolic syndromes. When we're type 2 diabetic or overweight in particular, we can have leptin resistance. Leptin is a hormone that regulates when there's food in the body and how to regulate those nutrients, bring them into the body and utilize them properly. We can have insulin resistance, which when you eat a carbohydrate meal, whether that's sugar or it's complex carbohydrates, in order for your body to use that, to break it down into the individual glucose components, bring it into the cell for healthy metabolism, you need insulin to do that. If you are overweight and you're constantly eating carbohydrates, you produce so much insulin that your cells start killing these receptor sites. They just start killing these sites, or the receptor sites just become resistant to it because there's too many. Then you have all kinds of problems. That can increase your LDL particle amount. Poor thyroid function can increase your particle amount. Infection and genetics can play a big part in how you express the amount of LDL particles made and distributed within your blood. So the main takeaway here is that today's modern cholesterol blood panel test does not take into account the full picture. It only looks at the cholesterol, the lipoproteins in the cholesterol, and not the free lipoproteins that are the problem. We can have a small amount of LDL and cholesterol, but there could be free-floating LDL particles not containing cholesterol all throughout your blood vessels. And what the problem is with that is that those can become denser, they can oxidize, and then they can find their way onto little fissures and cracks and inflammation points within the endothelium, the blood vessels, and start creating plaque formation, which can end up becoming a thrombus, dislodging, resulting in a heart attack, pulmonary embolism, stroke, so on and so forth. So these are very important things to consider. So this has been 6 myths and 6 facts of cholesterol and heart disease. What did you think about these myths and facts? I'd love to hear what your opinion is down in the comments below. I want to thank you for watching, and make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and to your health.